Kronos approvers must approve all timesheets shortly after the end of each pay period and before 11:59 p.m. of the Monday following the end of the pay period. Timesheets are locked for editing or approving on the Wednesday following the end of each pay period, unless noted otherwise by the Kronos area, such as before holiday breaks. When a pay period is locked, timesheets can no longer be approved in Kronos. There is a 5-step process to approving timesheets each pay period. It's important to complete the steps in order. Completing steps out of sequence may result in errors. To begin the process of approvals, click the Approver Checklist tab. The first step is to approve or reject all time off requests for the pay period. This step is important because you can't approve a timesheet if there are any outstanding time off requests for the pay period. These requests are listed in the first block, all open, with the report name Time Off Requests and a reference to a pay period. If no time off requests are listed in this box, you can go to step 2, which we'll discuss in a few minutes. In our example, there are time off requests. To approve or reject these requests, you must click the words All Open. Only after doing so will you see the Approve and Reject buttons. In this case, there are 4 time off requests. To approve them all, I click the checkbox under Page and then select Approve. I click Approve again. In some cases, you'll get this box titled Items to Resolve. You'll generally receive this box if the employee has other time listed for the day in which they're requesting time off. Never click this checkbox noting Remove Hours from the day worked. Either click Approve Time Off Request or Skip. In this case, we'll click Skip for both of these and then click Submit. So to approve the time off requests, which did not have any items to resolve. And now I can look into these time off requests a little bit more. So in this case, there's a request for 4 hours for 11/12/2024. I click the Open Timesheet box. Then I look at November 12th, and I see that the employee has 4 hours worked. They're an 8-hour-a-day employee. So a 4-hour time off request is okay. I click the checkbox and then I click Approve. Again, I get the items to resolve. And in this instance, it's more of an informational note, just letting me know that there's time worked on that day. So I click Approve Request and then Submit. So now we're down to 1 time off request that needs approved or rejected. Here there's a request for 2 hours for November 13th. The comment notes doctor's appointment. I click the timesheet. I look at November 13th and I see that the employee worked 6.5 hours that day. So if I approve 2 hours, that would actually give them 8.5 hours of combined work and time off for the day, which would be a half hour more than their standard hours per day. I click the back arrow, and in this case, I need to reduce the amount of time off requested. So I click this box, Review Modified Time Off Requests, a little airplane on a calendar icon, and I change 2 hours to 1.5 hours, and then click Modify Request, and I click OK, and now the amount of time that they're requesting, 1.5 hours, plus the time that they've worked for the day, 6.5 hours, will equal their standard hours per day. It won't be over that amount. So I click the checkbox next to the record and then click Approve. Again, I get the informational note that they have 6.5 hours listed for the day, but I know that the amount that they've requested off is only 1.5 hours, for a total of 8 hours. So I click Approve Time Off Requests and then click Submit. So that's step number 1. Click the back arrow to go back to the approval checklist. Step number 2 is approving or rejecting all timesheet change requests. These requests are listed in the second block from the top, pending timesheet change requests. This step is important because you can't approve a timesheet if there are any outstanding timesheet change requests for the pay period. Employees may submit timesheet change requests to report missed punches, canceled lunch deductions, and other such requests. such as the conversion of overtime to comp time. If no timesheet change requests were listed in this box, you could skip and go directly to step 3. However, in our example, there are timesheet change requests. To approve or reject these change requests, you must click these words, pending timesheet change requests, to open the report. Only after doing so will you see the approve and reject buttons. So in this case, I'll click the checkbox under page in order to try to approve all of these requests, and then I'll click approve. In this video segment, you are shown how to click the checkbox to select all timesheet change requests if you wish to approve them all at the same time. However, there is a caution. Look before you click approve. Sometimes you'll need to reject timesheet change requests. For more information on when to reject a timesheet change request, see page 5 of the Kronos Approver Guide and the video segment Approving or Rejecting Timesheet Change Requests. So in this case, I get one error message. It says punch for Jenny Ramtran cannot be executed, duplicate punch. The punch request is for 11/12/2024 for 4:30 p.m. If I click the pencil icon, I can open the timesheet, verify that indeed there is a punch there for 4:30 p.m. I click the back arrow. And in this case, because it's a duplicate, I click the checkbox next to the record and then click reject. For duplicates, I simply note duplicate request and then click reject again. And that clears out all the pending timesheet change requests. I click the back arrow and now I can go to step number 3. Scroll down to the exceptions box. And step 3 is checking for missed punch exceptions and missed day exceptions listed here for any timesheets. Now this step is important because you can't approve a timesheet if there are any missed punch exceptions. The Kronos Timekeeper Guide has instructions for timekeepers for following up with employees regarding such exceptions. That follow-up consists of requesting employees with any exceptions to submit Kronos requests to clear those exceptions. If you have any exceptions here, double check with the timekeeper that they've done such follow-up for any of these remaining exceptions. Then also you may wish to follow up with the employees yourself. Even if there are exceptions remaining, and there are not in this case, you can proceed to step 4. If employees submit requests later on to clear exceptions after you've completed the approval checklist, assuming it's prior to when Kronos is locked for the pay period, which, except for holiday breaks, occurs on the Wednesday after a pay period ends, you may go through the approval checklist again to approve their requests and their timesheets. I now scroll down to the area called All Timesheets and then the report name of Submitting Rejected and Open Timesheets. And this is step number 4. This step is important because you can't approve a timesheet if it's not in a submitted status. As you see here in this example, the approval state is not in a submitted status, so I can't approve it. Before holiday breaks, when you're approving before a pay period ends, all of your timesheets will not be in a submitted status. So this makes this step even more important before holiday breaks. However, if no records are listed here, then you can go directly to step number 5, which is the actual approval of timesheets, which we'll discuss in a few minutes. If there are records listed here, as there are in this example, click the words All Timesheets. Only after clicking the words All Timesheets will you see the View, Submit, Approve, and Reject buttons. Click the checkbox underneath Page, click All on Report, and then click Submit. Click Submit again, and then click the back arrow next to All Timesheets. And now we're ready for the 5th and final step, the approval of timesheets. Scroll to the very last block on the approval checklist page. And this one is called All Timesheets with a report name of Approval Report. Click the words All Timesheets to open this report. Only after clicking the words All Timesheets will you see the buttons for View, Submit, Approve, and Reject. Let's talk a little bit about the timesheet review process. Timekeepers are instructed, as noted in the Kronos Timekeeper Guide, to review timesheets and account for employees' scheduled hours per week, and to take steps to address any shortfalls. For example, if an employee is scheduled to work 40 hours per week, the timekeeper checks to see that the employee's paid and unpaid hours for each of the 2 weeks of the pay period totals 40 hours or more. If not, then the timekeeper takes follow-up steps, which may include obtaining approval from you to enter AWOL for any unexcused absence periods. Your review of timesheets includes double checking that this timekeeper review occurred and performing those steps if your timekeeper did not, perhaps because they were absent. It also includes scanning the count hours column to see if the number of hours listed for each employee seems reasonable. You may also want to look at the total overtime column. If you want to take a closer look at a particular timesheet, click the pencil icon next to the record to open that timesheet. I'll click the back arrow to go back to the approval report. To approve all the timesheets, I click the checkbox underneath page, select all on report, and then click approve. I click approve again. And now I've successfully approved all timesheets for my employees who have any time listed for that pay period.